And then we're good to go. There we are. Katie Cat, you're live on Instagram and Facebook. And we're coming to you from our backyard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're here and if you show up, please send me some hearts or give me a comment so that I know you're here. I'm going to give it a few minutes to see if some people jump on with us today. We're out in the backyard. We got our smoothies. How's your smoothie today? Awesome. So Katie, how are you?
Good.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
9.
9. You are, how many siblings do you have?
3.
What's it like being the youngest in your family?
That's a good question.
It is? Do you like being the youngest? I was the youngest in my family and the only girl. I like it. It meant I got spoiled a lot. And it meant that people kind of gave me whatever I wanted. Do you get whatever you want?
Well, depends.
Yeah?
Not really.
What have you ever wanted that you've never gotten?
Chocolate and candy.
24 hours a day?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's good. Okay, so I'm doing something right then. I can't see if there's anything here. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk. So the reason I brought Katie Cat on, we like to call her Katie Cat, K-Dog, all of the above. The reason why I brought Katie on today is because my blog that's coming out today is about sleeping. I have had some moms of little babies ask me about sleeping and what it's, some tips and tricks and sleeping, and having had 4 kids. And this one, I thought that she would be an interesting one. Katie, why do I think it's interesting for you to come on and talk about sleeping? What is unique about you? When did you start sleeping in your own bed by yourself? That's okay to say.
In the April last year.
So how old were you?
7.
I think you were 8. So
No.
Katie slept with us in our bed, would come every single night into our bed until she was 8. Being the last one, I didn't really worry about it that much because I enjoyed cuddling with her.
I like sleepwalking.
Oh, right, so that's what we think part of it was. So I'm going to go back a little bit to the beginning. So in my blog post, I talk a lot about co-sleeping. And I know that nowadays they talk about how co-sleeping is frowned upon. So actually having the baby in your bed for fear of things like suffocation in the blankets, suffocation against you and your body, or falling between the crack of the bed and the wall. And so when Health Canada talks about co-sleeping, they're talking about having a sidecar beside your bed or a bassinet. Now, I did have a little bassinet that my sister-in-law had given me, which was really only big enough for a baby, maybe up to like a few months, because remember, my babies were all really, really big. Yes, really big.
Zach was the biggest.
Zach was the biggest. And so I used that, but pretty quick, I brought them into bed with me. Now, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, and I'm not a healthcare professional, so I don't take this as advice. But nursing in bed was a really big win for me. I talk about in the blog about having to actually get up and get out of bed and walk down the hallway and go to the crib. I was so sleep deprived that having to do that just seemed like such an immense task that I didn't want to do that. And so when they're little babies, I had them in the bassinet. But as soon as they were kind of old enough to be able to fend for themselves, I brought them into bed with us. And they slept when they're little beside me and the outside of the bed, because I worried about my husband, who didn't have the same spidey sense, I call it. You know how you as a mom kind of know what's going on? You're sleeping, but you're never really sleeping again. You kind of can sense them. I can still sense when they come into my room if I'm having a nap or something. If they even you just know what's going on in your house at all times. And I don't know why that is, but I feel like that's a thing that we as moms just have. And so I would sleep with them beside me and hold them, and then nurse them and go back to sleep. I know that I've talked to a lot of women who have mastered the art of nursing while lying down, and that saved them a whole lot of time as well. So that was really helpful for them. But as soon as they were bigger, I had them in our bed. Now, again, when I had the next child, I had to kind of kick them out because I needed to make room for the new baby. So what I did is I used the floor sleeping. You never had to do this because you were the last, and hence why she ended up staying in my bed for a very long time, was I would put them on the floor beside me, or I would make a bed on the floor beside me so that if they woke up in the middle of the night, they could just come and lie down on the floor beside me.
I remember Zach doing that.
Yeah, Zach did. They all did that. So they all ended up coming and sleeping on the floor beside me in order to kind of try and get some sleep that day. Yeah.
I remember once sleeping in the hallway, trying to get closer and closer to my bed.
Oh, okay. You do remember that?
Yeah, I slept in the hallway once.
Once or on multiple occasions?
Well, multiple, further away and further away from your bed and closer to my bed.
Okay. All right, well. And then the other thing was I tried to do some sleep training. I tried to do the cry it out method. It didn't work very well for me at all. It just broke my heart, hearing the babies cry and trying to wait longer and longer. And then there was a book called The No Cry Sleep Solution. I tried that for a while with some of them. And so by no means am I an expert on having babies fall asleep, because obviously I had a baby stay in my bed for a very, very long time. And if you have a child who keeps coming to your bed in the middle of the night, so I'm talking about an older child, what eventually finally worked with Katie was
getting a high bed.
I was getting a bunk bed. And so I did move her into her own room. I even got her out of the toddler bed into a big bed, thinking that might help. And that was a present for trying to sleep in your own bed.
And it worked?
No, it didn't really work. She kept every day around midnight or 1 a.m. she would end up coming back into my bed. So it was obviously a habit, right? Like she just every day she woke up at the same time in the middle of the night.
I don't even remember doing it.
Right. And so what we kind of figured out was that maybe that Katie was sleepwalking and having, like, she woke up and just, it was such a habit. She would just wake up, come to my bed, crawl into the bed and go back to sleep. And so how did we needed to break this habit because it was time. She was almost almost 8. And so we changed rooms with the kids and we put her in the bunk bed. And so I put her in the top bunk of the bunk bed, which has a railing all the way around, but it's pretty high off the ground. So your bunk bed's pretty high. It's higher than Nick's bunk bed. It was pretty high off the ground with a ladder going down. So for her to get out of the bed and crawl down the ladder
without me even really that much waking up
wouldn't really work. Like she wouldn't be able to do it still sleeping. She would have to fully wake up. And so that seemed to work. Mm-hmm. And then she was able to stay in her bed, and now she doesn't come to my bed in the middle of the night anymore. She does come in the morning sometimes and cuddle because I love that. So that's good. So she comes in. So sleeping, the other thing I saw somebody asking a question about was about in the middle of the night, how they feed them formula, or if you're not nursing and trying to heat a bottle. I'm not sure where I saw that question. But the thing that I ended up doing was I had, because my kitchen is downstairs and the baby's bedroom is upstairs near my bedroom, was I would take I would prepare a bottle with the boiled water, but cool, and leave it just in the room. And I would pack a little package of the formula and leave it there so that I could make it in the middle of the night. And she was easy. I know some kids, babies don't like formula and don't take it, but when I was trying to wean her, because again, she stayed in her bed until a very long time before she was on milk, but when she wasn't really nursing so much anymore.
I love milk.
Yeah, you did. You drank a lot of milk as a baby. And so that was my sleeping. So I have a blog post coming out today about sleeping as well. Are there any questions? I see that Erin and Natalie are online. I can't tell on Facebook or not as well. So we're on both platforms right now. Katie, do you have anything to share? That's all we got. We're just talking about sleeping today. There was another question I know what the other question was. There was another question that got to me for moms of babies with potty training and when to potty train and how to potty train. And so so I have 2 girls and 2 boys. The girls were much sort of easier and earlier. But with the boys, and number 1 always seemed a little bit easier. So trying to get them to go pee on the potty was a little bit easier than trying to go poo on the potty. So for me, for potty training with the boys, I waited until right before they were 3. So 3 seems to be the magic number for me. I know some people are able to potty train their babies when they were younger, but I figured, and they were done more between 2 and 2.5, probably the girls. But for the boys, it really was I had a TV in a room, I had the potty in the room, and I had a bag of chocolate. And we
remember the bag of chocolate.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Yeah, and it was really just naked in the room, a lot of TV. They got to sit in front of the TV on the potty, and every time they went, I gave them a chocolate. And the pee chocolates were not very exciting. The poo chocolates were really exciting. They were much bigger and much more delicious. And so that was my motivation. And it worked. And then people would always ask me, well, are you going to give them chocolate forever for while they go to the bathroom? It doesn't work that way. Eventually, it just kind of ends. They get it, and then you don't have to keep giving them chocolate. So that was my other potty training trick. The only thing about potty training is when they're little, it's so hard, right? Because now you have to take the potty with you everywhere you go, unless they want to go on a public toilet, which they don't always want to go on a public toilet because they don't like the automatic flushers. So you have to figure out how to hold your hand or hold your foot in front of the automatic flusher so it doesn't flush while they're trying to go potty in a public place, because that's scary and can freak them out, right? You didn't like that? No, you still don't like it so much. So those are my 2 tips today. So I have a blog post coming about co-sleeping and the importance of co-sleeping and how I think it can save your sanity and make you sleep really well. And number 2 was potty training and bribery. I feel like bribery works. That is an excellent situation in which to go. And it literally took 2 days. So what I would say, you have to have a day where you're not leaving the house and take off the diaper. And yes, I had underwear, and we had ruined a lot of pairs of underwear and threw them in the garbage. And if you have a floor that doesn't have carpet, I would pick that floor for the accidents, so easier to clean up. I know it's gross. Potty training can be gross. And that's what I did. Chocolates, big ones for the poo. I know that's kind of gross too, chocolates and poo, but okay, and that's it. That's all we got today. So it was a quick video. We're only on for 12 minutes. So if you have any comments or questions, please post them below. If you're enjoying the videos or if you're enjoying the stuff that we're talking about on lazy parenting, please feel free to share with your friends. There is a YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where all these videos go to live. And ask questions. If you'd like to be a guest on the Lazy Parenting Show, please DM me, and I would love to interview you and answer questions and kind of work through any issues that you're dealing with so that other moms out there can learn. Again, the whole point of this was to build a community around moms so that we can all talk about the ways we can make things easier. So putting in the hard work when they're young definitely pays off. My life is so much easier now that they're all older. And I'd like to think pretty well behaved and independent and good at communicating and following the rules that we have. Yeah, what's the hardest rule in our house for you to follow?
Nothing.
You follow all the rules.
I don't know.
I have a rule that you don't follow very well.
What?
She's very messy.
Oh, that's not really a rule, though.
Cleaning up after yourself?
That's not exactly a rule.
Oh, it's a rule she's not very good at. But when I ask her to clean it up, she cleans it up, right?
Exactly.
Yes, so just a little bit delayed at times. So again, I hope you guys had a good morning. I hope you're doing well with your little ones at home if you have little ones, or with your big teenagers if you have them at home with you as well. And that's it. We'll see you. I'm going to post the blog a little bit later today. I'm just going to do a final edit on it, and then it'll be up and running. Okay, and I'd love to hear your feedback and comments. Bye, everyone. Say goodbye, Katie.
Bye. So close.